we're down bad. We really are, and I don't think there's any denying it at this point. Hey, you know what I want to do for this video? So, because everybody doesn't care about the Canucks anymore, you kind of feel it, right? There's the apathy right here. You see the team lose, you don't care anymore. It doesn't make you sad. It makes you feel a little bit just, empty inside, seeing this team play the way they have. And you know what? It's apathy. Apathy is starting to set in amongst the fan base, and because of that, I want to talk about my day yesterday, because as I had been highlighting in previous videos, I was on vacation for the entire weekend. I went to the States because, hey, the border's opening up for non-essential travel, and I've got family down there. So we went down, we saw the folks, we met my baby nieces and all of them. I love them so much. But when we were there, I didn't really watch any Canucks hockey. We saw a few snippets of what was the game where the Canucks were leading and then they ultimately lost? Vegas, that's what it was. Yeah, we saw a bit of the Vegas game. Then Vegas started scoring and scoring and scoring, and my family in Seattle was like, oh, they're losing. And I was like, yeah, well, it happens a lot with this team. And then we turned it off and then we went about our ways and did some karaoke because that's what Filipinos love to do. We had ourselves a time, and I enjoyed myself over the weekend. However, yesterday, heading back over to Vancouver, Monday night, this was the rainstorm night. This was the Highway 99 getting shut down in a whole bunch of places night. This was the I-5 in America getting completely stopped up from exits 240 to 250 due to mudslides and landslide debris. We had ourselves a really bad night because we tried to go home, and for 5 hours, we were stuck at exit 240 with no movement whatsoever, just being clogged up by big rigs and whatnot around us. At around 7:45 p.m., we were at the 240 northbound mark on I-5, and then we just stopped because there were so many cars, so much traffic, and we literally stayed there in that spot till after midnight. It was traumatizing. Just cabin fever extended tenfold, and eventually we were able to edge our way over onto the exit on 240, take Bow Hill Road west, and then just travel along that road along the perimeter of Lake Sammamish. Eventually we stopped by road closure signs. We went by those because the road was still technically open, even though the road close sign was there. We went by mudslide debris, and eventually we even passed a tipped over big rig that was in a ditch. But it took us a few hours, we got through it, and we crossed the border at, 1 a.m.? Yeah, we were supposed to be home at 9. We ended up arriving at home at 2 a.m., so very bad night, very tragic night for me personally, and I even saw on Twitter this morning, some people were still stuck on I-5. Southbound, it was a little bit clogged up. Northbound, it was still clogged up at the same place. I saw some lady, she had to actually sleep in her car overnight because she was trapped at 8:30 p.m. at night the previous day, and this morning at like 6 a.m. she was still there. Absolute travesty going down over there. And there's a reason why I opened up this video talking about that story. Firstly, because it actually kind of traumatized me. Like, once I realized this morning that I woke up in my bed, secure, in my house, I was like, oh my goodness. I kind of take life for granted, don't I? But I also brought that story up because for some reason, the Vancouver Canucks, they make me feel worse. Like, I don't need to describe to you how poorly this team is playing. Back-to-back 7-goal-against performances, yada yada yada. Take a look at the stats, take a look at the advanced analytics. Oh, Jonathan Dahlen is going out there and producing more than Pettersson. There's so much going on with this team statistics-wise that feels just so bad. But I don't care about that stuff. You already know that stuff. We know how bad this team is. But there are some other aspects of this team that I really do think deserve a spotlight as well, that are independent of the performance of the... no, not independent. I mean, they're related, I guess, but we're not talking about the performance on the ice here. Let's go over some tweets that I wanted to highlight, and you can just kind of come to your own conclusions here as to how things are going. So we're starting out with Donnie and Dolly. There was a clip on here where Rick Dhaliwal absolutely goes off on the Vancouver Canucks, and the reason is because apparently, according to what they were talking about on the show, their show, Donnie and Dolly, received some flack privately, talking about how their coverage is too negative. Here's a tweet from Omar Canuck. Canucks ownership took the time to let Donnie and Dolly know they're upset with their coverage, but they've never taken the time to think about hiring a GM who can assemble a half-decent blue line. This is the quote from Rick Dhaliwal. Don't be about the negativity when you've lost 8 years in a row. So all of a sudden, it appears the Vancouver Canucks themselves, feeling the heat, seeing the negativity, going out there into the media and hearing from the guys that are criticizing their hockey club. And their message is, hey, what are you guys doing? Why are you guys talking bad about us, man? This is a tweet from Matt Sakaris. Regards to the tweets out there, the Canucks were calling us, Sakaris and Price, on their own show to complain we're too negative or pulling a sponsorship. There was never a sponsorship. We wouldn't take their money because we want the editorial independence. We had an arrangement to have a weekly Abby Canucks guest on the show, though, but after the first installment, we were told that was no longer going to be possible. No biggie, we move on. As for too negative, that didn't reach me. If it had, I would have provided a solution to start winning. Now, why exactly was this even posted? Well, because we had some rumors coming out that the Canucks have pulled advertising and sponsorship from a few Vancouver sports shows. I'm not sure if this tweet in particular is correct or accurate, but this is kind of the sentiment that we had, which is why Dhaliwal had his piece on the show, and you had Matt Sakaris replying to these ideas on Twitter too. So even though the Vancouver Canucks are absolutely dog water terrible, behind the scenes, just based off of what we have seen from these tweets, it doesn't really look like the team is taking accountability. Because instead of addressing their issues and doing this and firing that or whatever, they're going after the media. Hey, don't talk about us being bad. Why are you so negative? Come on. Just be positive. What do you have to lose by being positive? Well, this is the thing about the Canucks and hockey and fans in general. Parker's Pucks actually talked about this on Twitter too, so I'll show off kind of his example on the screen too. But when it comes to the media landscape in Vancouver, Vancouver's a funny one because everybody here cares about hockey so much that, sure, we have the Whitecaps, sure, we have the Lions, sure, we have the Canadians. We got a lot of Vancouver-based sports teams, but when it comes to the Canucks, these guys run the town. You can't get Elias Pettersson walk into the grocery store without somebody greeting him and asking for a photograph. The city thrives off its hockey culture, and it's a Canadian market. But when this team is going out there losing and being this bad and having nothing to show for it, traded away back-to-back first-round picks, having all these guys on your team underperforming, Travis Green deploying a system that is giving up 7 straight goals in multiple games in a row, when you have a team that is this bad, and you have people pointing out how bad it is. Look at this D-core, look at how bad it is. Look at this forward core and how they're not getting going. Is this on the coach? Is this on the GM? It's the GM who assembled the team, but it's the coach who's going out there trying to bring the best of his players, but he can't. When you have people pointing out the negative, it's because people care. And it's because people expect better. People expect more out of a National Hockey League team with players of the caliber of talent that they have. What is there to be positive about when you see this team crack down in front of Yarhalak? When you see this team give up offensive opportunities with terrible turnovers and back-end rushes? What is there to be positive about when you're seeing this team give up 6, 7 goals against every game and being only better than the Seattle Kraken expansion team? It's the ownership, it's the management, it's the coaching, it's the players themselves. We have so many people out there in the media here. This is what Farhan Lalji said. He thinks that there are major problems in the Canucks locker room. He expands a little bit more by saying, I think you've got a bunch of immature players that aren't willing to look at themselves in the mirror, and I think this locker room is broken. J-Pat said that he's been asking around and he feels these 3 home games are what could ultimately determine the fate of the coaching and general management. We have ourselves the Canucks meeting that happened today where apparently nothing happened. GM Jim Benning met with the ownership today to discuss Vancouver's early season challenges and how the group can do better. Do not expect drastic off-ice changes for the moment. The plan is to remain patient. Okay, patience. You've been preaching patience for 8 years. This is supposed to be the year. Benning, I mean, there was a clip going around. This is the last point I wanted to talk about in this video. We're at 9 minutes anyway. There was a clip going around of Travis Green yelling at Elias Pettersson on the bench saying, hey, you've got to be better. You've got to be effing better. And you could kind of see it in Petey's body language. They just kind of, you know when you see somebody and they're anxious or they're feeling pressure in the moment and you can just see them scrunch up into a ball. Their shoulders come in, their elbows tighten up, and you see them physically shrivel up towards the center of their body, and Pettersson, it kind of felt like to me that's what was going on, and Bo Horvat even reached over, gave him a little, bump on the shoulder, and it didn't really look like it did anything, but there's a lot going on here. Ownership, you guys are tone deaf. The product sucks, the fans don't care, and telling sports shows in Vancouver to stop being negative about the team is not going to fix anything. Management, you built a team that on paper was supposed to be a bit better than how they're performing right now, but you've had 8 years to build a good team. And what are we seeing right now? Absolutely not the case. Coaching, you've lost your players. Are you kidding me? Your message is indeed being heard? What is that message? The way this team is playing, it feels like there is no message. And players, star players. I know Miller's getting points. I know Hoaglander's doing well. I know Demko's playing well. But outside of these guys, the top guys, Pettersson, he's making millions and millions of dollars for a reason. He's got to find a way to step it up. Hughes, okay, I like Hughes, but one guy can't change it all. Miller's getting points. Horvat, I mean, yeah, but I'd be lying if I said that I'm satisfied with any part of this team, maybe aside from Thatcher Demko. So, talk to me in the comments what you thought about this. I mean, we went for a long time, didn't we? I filled up the entire first half of the video with my traveling story. Talk to me in the comments what do you think. If you enjoyed this video, Josh Wilson 99. And bye.